It's great to be in the SEC. Thank you for tuning in to the SEC Recap Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Warren, and today we are talking all Vols. We are celebrating that big Tennessee win over Bama. Hey, if you're a fan of any other SEC school, you're welcome to listen to, and we will have our regularly scheduled Week 7 recap. But today, we're celebrating the Vols. By the way, you can catch all of our content now in one place at secrecap.com. Go over there, check everything out. Don't miss it. Let's dive in. Welcome to the SEC Recap Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Warren. We got the full band back together. We got the full touring group, joined again by my good buddy, Andrew Turner.
Hey, yo.
Gordon White.
Yep.
We got David Springer, a.k.a. what was it, David? White Chocolate?
White chocolate. Yes, sir.
White Chocolate. And then we got the touring members in. We got our buddy Squirrel.
Hey, Andrew Center.
And our good friend, William Truitt, out in NC.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Boys, this is a full band episode of the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. This is our all Vols, big balls, don't give a damn about the rest of y'all video call. And guess what? We're not talking about Georgia. We're not talking about Kentucky. We're not talking about Mississippi State. We're not talking about LSU. We ain't talking about Florida. Get out of here with that. By the way, if you're a fan of one of those programs, thank you so much for listening. Please tune in to our regularly scheduled Week 7 recap. But today we're celebrating Tennessee's monumental win and the historic scene that followed in Neyland Stadium and around Knoxville. We're going to talk to each of the boys about what this win felt like, what it really means to fans. We're going to talk viral goalpost videos, what would make the best Vols Natty party, and that sad-ass picture of Derek Dooley eating spaghetti on a box in the corner at Neyland Stadium. Guys, David, I'm going to start with you. Talk to me about how epic this win was.
I have been a Vols fan for 36 years of my life. I don't remember anything besides UT losing to Alabama. I don't normally tear up whenever UT wins or during any sporting events, but I cried. I teared up. This meant more to me. Besides getting married and my kid being born, this was the best day of my life.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Truitt, let's go to you. Where were you?
Man.
What was going through your mind?
It's by myself in my apartment. I'm a pretty reserved guy most of the time. I was like yelling and screaming to nobody, my dog, and like happy tears like running down my face, texting everybody that I knew. Just like, dude, are you watching? Are you looking at this? Do you see that? And then I just stopped texting for like 45 minutes and just sat there. And I think I had like a glass of whiskey. That was great.
Yeah, you
Just
sent us
awesome.
the picture of the bottle of whiskey. Yeah, that was it looked like a good time. Squirrel, what about you? I know we talked on the phone a little bit after that field goal.
Oh yeah, I had to call everybody. It was amazing. I watched it here in Memphis at the house. There's not too many Tennessee fans around here. It's kind of the opposite. So I wanted to stay safe and watch it enjoyably. I'm kind of with David. The last game I can remember being this hyped about and happy about was you were actually there, Ben, and so was Gordon. It's 2004 when we beat Florida at the highest attendance game ever.
Yeah.
I didn't think you could really top that, but this one was just like a complete marathon of emotions. Like every time, they jump out of that big win, I'm like, we got it. And then slowly you see it starting to happen. I'm like, we're going to Tennessee ourselves. It's just going to happen. We're going to get Tennessee. But in the end, we didn't. That offense is solid, man. It was great.
I heard it described a couple of different places as like Alabama's like the Terminator. Like you think you've killed it, and then you turn around behind you and it's still like crawling towards you. And you're just like, oh no, not again. And that's literally how it felt even all the way through that knuckleball field goal that just like was a fart away from not making it over the crossbar. And then when you see, I remember seeing one of like the sheriff's deputies or the fake cops there in the end zone, like throw his hands up like it went up. And I just like, that's when I knew. I was like, oh my God, this really happened. I turned around and high-fived Gordon. Gordon was turned around playing that little hook and ring game at the dock for like the last 2 minutes of the game because he was too nervous to watch it.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'm so happy they pulled it out. If they hadn't, it would have been a great game. But man, after everything, that was just, it was a perfect way to end it. Just like, oh my God, is it going to happen? I fell down. I actually fell down on the floor.
All right, Andrew, let's go to you. Tell us where you were when that happened. Were you actually at the game, or were you just kind of down there, like around the action? Because we have a lot to get into.
Yeah.
Here.
I won't go into the whole thing at this point in time, but I can say we all met up at a brewery up the road, about a mile or two from the stadium. And I had ridden my bike to the brewery and gotten there probably like an hour and a half early just to get a spot and, hang out and chill. And man, just had all, a bunch of friends around me, and it was so much fun. There's so much energy in there, especially, kind of like what Andrew said. You had the first and second quarter going so well. Third quarter, fourth quarter is pretty scary, but we just, hung in there. And when we won, that place lit up. People were crying and screaming and yelling Rocky Top and high-fiving strangers. It was so much fun. And that's when I got on my bike and just said, man, I'm going into campus and into the fort and just I want to see some couches burn, and man, it was just an epic night.
How far away do you live from campus?
On a bike, I can ride and be there in like 30 minutes, 25 minutes, something like that.
That's not bad. The last couch I remember burning, Squirrel, you might remember this, but God, was that our sophomore year in Knoxville Place? It was when I think UT was on the road playing at LSU in that crazy overtime game. And I remember people running through the fort.
Yeah,
I think it was Rick Clausen. I think it was like the Ainge and Clausen.
Right.
Yeah,
Clausen. Yeah.
But that game ended, and I remember people running through the fort, through campus. Like it was, I don't think it was a home game. Like I think it was an away game.
It was at
losing their minds. Yeah.
That was the game where we kept making Aaron go outside into the courtyard because every time she came in, like LSU would score or bust a first down. So she didn't even get to watch the game. She just sat outside in the courtyard the whole time.
But I remember a couch burning at the rugby house, which was just like a few blocks backing up from where we were staying. So it was good to see a couple couches burn. It was really good to see those goalposts come down. Andrew, last week in that game of the week segment, when we were talking UT Bama, you said, and I think I might clip it when I publish this, but you said that you think if Tennessee wins, we'll storm the field, but the goalposts won't come down. And I said, yeah, I think you're right. We're not really a tear the goalpost down kind of fan base. Like we're better than class. That. We have more class. We expect to win. Like and man, I was so happy to be wrong. But before we get into that, I want to talk a few narratives going into this game about what made this so sweet and why I think the win matters even more so. If y'all are like me and you've kind of heard, you've been seeing like highlights videos, dude, I couldn't stop watching highlights of this. Like through yesterday, I was like sitting at home once I got here, just watching like replays of Hendon Hooker throwing 60-yard touchdown bombs to Jalen Hyatt.
I think Jalen Hyatt is still scoring touchdowns at Neyland Stadium.
He's still scoring, dude. He just scored one. 25th of the game. But the biggest narrative, and I'm going to let y'all chime in on this. The first one was Bryce Young's status. All week, it was, is Bryce Young going to play? And if he doesn't play, UT's going to run away with this. And if he does play, Bama's going to smash Tennessee by 3 scores. Well, he played, and he played out of his mind. That dude is one of the best quarterbacks I've ever seen play the game of college football. He looks like Patrick Mahomes in an Alabama jersey. Yep. He was so insanely good, but I think that makes it even better that they had Bryce Young. He played one of the best games I've ever seen him play, and it still wasn't enough to beat Tennessee.
Yeah.
That Tennessee offense
Yeah.
is something to reckon with. I'm glad we beat Bryce Young. I'm glad Bryce Young was healthy. His shoulder's fine. He had 2 games out. It would have been just as sweet if we beat the backup quarterback, because Alabama just reloads and they're going to have a great quarterback. But man, it's so much sweeter beating them at their best.
Absolutely. Yeah. I told friends and family, we were getting nervous, getting closer to the game. It seems like we were losing players. They were getting healthier players, and the spread started, going further and further towards them. I think it was going like 8 or 9 going into the game. And I was telling friends and family, I was like, man, we don't have the pressure on us. We're at home. I'd much rather, if we win on Monday and hearing these commentators talk about it, I don't want any excuses like, well, they weren't healthy and they weren't at their 100%. See, it's the opposite now. They were 100%. We were not even fully healthy. And so it just feels so much better.
And I mean, Bryce Young being in the game almost helped us out a little bit, just because he's not a turtle quarterback. He's not going to get the ball and just hold the line. He's going to push it down the field, which gets Hooker back on the field quicker, which turns the game into a higher scoring game, which really played to our advantage a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
Can you imagine
even
if
said
Tennessee
that
had a
day,
good defense?
or any secondary.
They got a lot of pressure on him. I mean, they just missed him every time.
They hit him hard. They hit
a
him hard.
tackle. They got in the backfield like a lot. He was hurried a lot. They just couldn't actually bring him down. I mean, that was nuts.
He must have ran a mile side to side in the backfield over the course of that game. We would get there. You would see one of our defensive ends turn the corner, and then he would just slip out. They couldn't get to him. Then he'd check down to one of his outside receivers, and it would just magically appear in his hands without a Tennessee defender within 20 yards of him. I swear to God, it's just like watching Patrick Mahomes.
Was truly an athletic performance for sure. I mean, that was some of the most incredible stuff I've ever seen, really. So glad that he was playing, because if he wasn't, there would be an asterisk next to this game.
There would.
That's how good he looked on the field. Fantastic.
I think that's important for people to take away, because a lot of the commentary that I've heard, I listen to a lot of the podcasts, a lot of the radio shows. There's a ton of Alabama fans today, like blaming refs on bad calls. And look, there was some questionable officiating on both sides. Not going to front. That targeting call that wasn't a targeting call, but probably should have been a targeting call against us, really worked in our favor. I don't know that made the difference in the game. But then they had that pass interference in the end zone that really gave us a second shot at getting that touchdown that we needed after the scoop and score.
That's the one they're really upset about.
That is the one they're really upset about. But the thing is, I mean, they were also getting away with holding the entire game.
But that's every game too. I mean, you could break it down any way you want.
If you can find a penalty on almost any play of any football game.
Exactly.
Like, there's going to be a penalty there. It's just what they're calling and what they're letting people get away with. I don't want to get too bogged down in, was it the officiating? Was it this? I think what makes us win so good is that Bryce Young was playing his best football. Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and like our offense was playing some of their best football. No, statistically, defensively, this game sucked. But it didn't matter. It was such a good freaking football game. It's some of the best college football I've ever watched.
The throw up and stare down was my second favorite part of the game. And the
that is an absolute man of a child.
Dude, that was ice cold. Can you imagine?
He's like, the head nod. I'm coming for you.
And if you saw, like, he was looking at like number 47 on Alabama, and number 47 on Alabama kind of just like looked off to the side. Like, did anybody else see him just do that? Like, he just nodded and he was like, all right, let's line up. Second narrative, I think, man, Will Anderson Jr. All right, so this is a guy that was talked about last year as one of the front runners for the Heisman as a defensive player, which we all know it's a long shot anyway. That's really a quarterback award effectively, but he's still being talked about this year in the Heisman. All I heard all week was Will Anderson Jr. and this Alabama pass rush cheetah package. Now, we're not an X's and O's podcast. We don't get into like that aspect of it really. But I heard about this all week, just the cheetah package, they're going to put, these 3 pass rushers in there and they're just going to hurt Hendon Hooker all game. Will Anderson was a complete non-factor in this game. Our right tackle shut him down the entire game. Him and the guy on the other side, Dallas Turner. Dude, they had no pass rush. They had 1 sack the entire night. And that's defensively, like, that's all I heard that they were going to do to us was, like, get through our O-line and sack Hendon Hooker. It didn't happen. In fact, our right tackle was named SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Thoughts on that? Is our offensive line really that good?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I mean,
yes,
they're good.
I think they're amazing.
I think they're better than you think. That
they had so much. They gave Hendon Hooker so much time to throw all those deep balls to Jalen Hyatt against one of the best statistically defensive lines in college football.
But
yeah,
there's a big difference. Yeah, he had time. But there's a big difference. I mean, our offense is so fast that
they're
no
giving
matter
him
what
pretty
we
good
do,
protection, I think, personally.
Yeah, they're giving him protection, but we're so fast that we're always keeping them off guard. We have a good offensive line. They're going to get better. But we're so fast, we're keeping them off balance with Hendon Hooker and then our Heisman Trophy candidate coach, offensive mind genius coming in there and just disrupting everything. They're going to make it difficult for any defense. So like Georgia's going to have a hard time with us too. Yes, we're good. We can only get better.
I think so too.
The offensive line.
One other thing I want to point out is we rushed for 184 yards on Alabama. They were only giving up 84 yards a game up to this. That includes against Texas A&M, like against a couple other Power 5 teams. We ran for 184 yards. So it wasn't just deep bombs from Hendon Hooker to Jalen Hyatt. Like we ran the ball on Alabama, and we actually ran it better than they ran it on us.
And that's with Jahmyr Gibbs.
Our O-line's been helping
That's
us
hard
put
to
up
believe.
good numbers all season, though.
Say that again, Gordon.
Our O-line's been helping us put up good numbers all season, though. Like Hooker's put up great numbers all season behind them.
I'm with Gordon. Like the offensive line has looked pretty fucking incredible. And it's because there are guys in there that have been in the system for several years now.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's only been 2 years that we've had the Heupel system.
Well, no, I mean, on the team, there's a veteran staff on the offensive. The defensive line looked fantastic as well, but
they really did.
I agree with that.
Was the incredible part to me. Like, and I'm no football player, but defense looks like the hard thing to master over, the trick rush plays that happen occasionally, and the defense looked like they had the absolute intelligence of a mastermind back there yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, I'd say another thing I noticed that the commentator said during the LSU game is that we spread our wide receivers like to the edge of the field. And that means there's a lot bigger hole that the linebackers have to spread and fill as well. So, I mean, I agree. They're just working so well as a machine. The way that they go out there and just, they already know the next 3 plays they want to do. And they have just trained those linemen to get right to the line of scrimmage. If you're a ball carrier or a wide receiver who's got it, as soon as you go down, be smart, give it to the referee that's about to post the ball down, and they immediately look over to the sideline. None of them are talking. They're all just locked in like a beehive. I love it. But I'd say I agree on what David is saying in terms of like we can grow, we can continue to do better, but we're still doing amazing given our wide receivers and our quarterback and our running back excellent opportunities.
Whenever the offense is only on 2 minutes per drive and scoring, I mean, they're all fresh. They're going to look good. And then whenever the defense wants to substitute, you're going to get a 12-man penalty, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, and they did, I think, at one point.
Yeah, they did. Once or twice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's the speed of the offense. It's how they spread defenses out. Here's the thing. I think a lot of Alabama fans today and yesterday, like ever since the game, were looking for what was wrong with our defense. They were looking for, why wasn't our defense playing well? if any Alabama fans are listening, I would like to propose you think about it differently. The thing that was wrong with Alabama's defense was Tennessee's offense. That's just what Tennessee's offense is going to do to even the best defenses, because that's what it's literally designed to do.
Alabama fans have nothing to be ashamed of. They played one hell of a game.
Yeah.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. Tennessee
I would be
with
ashamed of the penalties.
the penalties, yeah. The knuckleball kick,
offense, though.
the knuckleball kick at the end, missing a field goal, maybe they can be upset about, but Alabama, they played one hell of a game, and
They did.
they have nothing to hang their head for.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, it was just bizarre seeing some of the stuff, those early penalties and just like miscues, like losing balls, just like unforced turnovers.
Yeah, that punt, that muff punt. I mean, you
Yeah.
never see Alabama make those mistakes.
Nick
Oh,
Saban
yeah,
was about to have a heart attack
Oh my
over
gosh.
that one.
Yeah, it's so good.
That was great. I did like that.
I mean, that clip, think about that, guys. No matter what happens for the next 10 years, we're going to have that clip of Saban losing his shit on our sideline in a game that we won and hung 52 points on them forever. We'll have that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, and no mustard bottle involved.
Well, did you see Kiffin's
No
I'm
Well,
looking for it right now. I
yeah.
was going to link it.
Hold on.
That's
Oh,
the,
Oh, you
that's the
Ben,
bad.
you sent it to us in the chat.
Yeah, I sent it to you. Yeah. So Kiffin tweeted, for people listening, obviously we can't show it, but Kiffin tweeted a Photoshop picture of Nick Saban like ripping his headphones off, where he's like hunched over and like that French's mustard bottle, like nailing him in the back of the head. And it's like, look, I hate Kiffin still to this day. I don't like Kiffin.
Yeah.
I don't want him around. I don't ever want to see him again. But I hated him a little less after that tweet.
I want Kiffin to cry every time we play him, but man,
Yeah.
that was I hate him a little bit less too.
Gordon said, we were up at the river, and Gordon said, if he were drowning, I'd spray him with a hose.
There's few teams that I really, really wanted to beat so badly that I felt visceral about it. And whoever Lane Kiffin is coaching for is just behind Alabama for me. So that worked out pretty well this weekend.
Whether it be
Yeah,
USC or Alabama, yeah, I hate them all.
Weirdly enough, though, I actually want Ole Miss to beat Bama, and I want us to beat Georgia so that we can get a rematch of Ole Miss in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. Like, I
Nobody
would
can
love
do
that
that.
rematch.
Nobody.
Have you seen the breakdown of the 4 one-loss SEC teams at the end of the year?
No.
So Tennessee walks in, gets beat by Georgia, missed the SEC final. Alabama beats Ole Miss, goes to the SEC final. Alabama beats Georgia. We now have 4 teams with 1 loss in the SEC.
Yeah, so who gets into the college football playoff?
Like, how
basically?
do we determine that?
Well, you know,
all
if
4 SEC teams.
well, I tell
There
you
you
what, it
go.
depends. Well, Ohio State would like have to lose to Michigan, and then Michigan would have to lose to somebody for that to
Ohio
even
State
be like,
looks good.
yeah, remotely possible. They do look good.
Their
but
schedule
I tell you
is
what,
so weak.
I know it's a joke. It's a joke. And if anybody outside the SEC is listening to this and you're thinking Ohio State's the best team in the country, y'all haven't played nobody.
Yeah, play Bama, see what happens.
Play anybody. Play literally any of the top 4 teams in the SEC, and let's see what happens.
That's
because I guarantee you don't make it through all 4 undefeated.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what's the best part about beating Bama is it's like now you beat every team that Bama could beat. Just like
Yeah, I love that's a great
transitive
point, Turner.
property
The
of beating
transitive win property.
Yes.
Yes, like I'm all
Yeah.
for it. That's how the college football playoff should be determined, is transitive wins.
Sure, it's got some good
Yes.
points though. I had not heard that take on the 4-1s. That's very interesting.
Well, if we were in like a 12-team playoff, I guarantee you all 4 would be in.
Oh, no doubt.
4 one-loss SEC teams, even the 2 that didn't make the SEC championship, would absolutely be in.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Ben, I would challenge that and say, like, even if it's an 8-game playoff,
Yeah.
8-team playoff would have all
For sure.
4. And we may
For
even
sure.
have 5. I mean, yeah.
Because especially
Mississippi
when you're
State's
talking
looking
about
pretty good too.
especially when you're talking about all 4 of those teams potentially being top 7 teams, which they are right now. Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss are all in the top 7. Yeah, how could you leave those teams out of an 18 playoff?
And Mississippi State's looking good, and I would like to see how they finish the season.
Man, they did. That was a disappointing loss at Kentucky.
It was disappointing, yeah.
We're veering off to Tennessee, though.
Tennessee.
Yeah. yeah. All right.
This is
while we're on, like, let's get back to the game. Andrew left us for a minute, but for people listening, outside of the people who are currently on this podcast, they may not be aware that Andrew is the owner and videographer of the viral video of the goalposts being removed from Neyland Stadium and taken to the Tennessee River and thrown into the river. We knew Andrew was down there, and he was documenting all of this. And he's sort of sending us pictures and he's sending us clips. And then all of a sudden he sends us this video. Andrew, I'm talking about you. Welcome back. We're getting to your viral goalpost video.
Yeah.
So that's where we're headed now. So you're down there and you start sending us these clips and these pictures. And then you send us this video of the goalposts going in the river. We're all like, oh, that's awesome. And then over the course of the next 12 hours, you have Sports Illustrated DMing you. You have CNN DMing you. You have Lester Holt of NBC or MSNBC.
Million.
I think it's up to 3. It's like 3.5 million views now.
I'm looking at it now. 3.4. Yeah.
All right. So Andrew, talk us through everything from the goalpost coming down, where you were, how you decided to go follow it, how long it took to get to the river. Just take us through all of that, and then tell us about you capturing that video and then all of the media attention that you've had to like fend off lately.
So I couldn't go to the game. I wanted to go to the game so bad. I really did believe in us. I am normally not an underdog better, but like I really did feel like Tennessee had the best opportunity to win this game. Tickets were like $400+ and so when I was trying to decide where I wanted to watch the game, I intentionally wanted to take my bike because I told my wife, I was like, if we win, I am riding into the heart of whatever's going down. I want to go through the fort and all this. So I immediately leave Schultzbrau, a nice German brewery in Knoxville if you're ever in town. Man, I went right into the fort by myself, and immediately around Grand Forest, right behind the hill, there's this couch on fire immediately, so I can immediately feel this awesome energy from the college kids. And so I'm like yelling with them and taking pictures with the couch, and so I saw on TV they were tearing the goalpost down, so I was like riding into Cumberland, and I mean, dude, it was insane. People were pouring out of the stadium, so many people yelling, chanting, screaming, honking, high-fiving, and so I'm just kind of walking my bike at this point, and I spot what looks like several fraternities, just toting the new goalpost right down Cumberland, and they're like toting it towards the strip, so I was like, okay, this is exactly where I'm going. Followed them, took video and filmed and pictures and all that, and everybody's chanting, it's great to be a Tennessee Vol, and everybody's just all high on life, And so I figure out, like, just talking to them, that they're planning on throwing it in the river, which was the rumor going around. If they got to this point and they tore the goalpost down, what have they done in the past? Like, this is what they do. And so I'm walking with them, and then I figure out I need to ride ahead a little bit and get ready. So I'll ride ahead. I'll try to lock my bike up and get my camera out, and they're chanting and yelling and screaming, and then they all throw that goalpost in the river. And of course, they're jumping in and swimming with it and riding it. Just, I mean, it's some crazy memories that I'll never forget. And this is something I knew would happen, like people were going to lose their mind. If we won this game, people are going to be having the best time. And so I just wanted to be around that. And so because I was on my bike, I'm riding out of the area really quickly. There's no service. You couldn't possibly put a video out or anything like that. But I was able to kind of ride out, and I just basically posted a video of everybody throwing that goalpost in the river and yelling and screaming, and tagged just like hashtag Vols, Vol Nation, and then somebody had created like a goalpost Twitter account like immediately. So I was like, okay, I'm tagging them, and dude, I didn't even get home until like probably around 9 o'clock or so, and it had only been like 10 minutes, and the video had like 50,000 posts before Barstool Sports.
Hey, nice throwback there.
Oh,
nobody's
man.
nobody's
Oh,
nobody's
man,
gonna get
Barstool
that
Profits,
reference,
old
but
school
he
band.
started to say Barstool Profits, which is the name of our garage band in high
That's
school.
hilarious. Well, anyway, so the Barstool Sports repost it, and then Sports Illustrated posts it, and then FanDuel retweets it. And if you're a big Tennessee fan, you know about Tony Basillo. He's like the guy to listen to right after games. He reposts it, and this is when it just kind of goes nuts, and I'm kind of, watching it blow up. And then I woke up in the morning, and it was like 7, and I had an email from ESPN asking to put it on SportsCenter. And that was like, what is happening right now? Y'all are texting me like, dude, your video is being played on SportsCenter right now.
Dude, yeah, I saw that
Oh
that
my
morning. So
gosh.
I was on vacation, like it's fall break, so we were up. Like I wasn't at home. I had to watch it on my phone, and then I found a bar to watch it while we were eating dinner. But the next morning I woke up and I'm watching SportsCenter, and I see basic math, and then the video. I'm like, I know this video. I was like, oh shit, Turner. And I sent him a text. I'm like, dude, you got tagged in like everything. It's on SportsCenter. It's on the Sunday Fun Day.
Insane.
And then I think you finally got to see it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's even better that I wasn't expecting to see it. I was like, I know this video. I've seen this before. And I was like, oh shit, that's Turner.
So I've got it pulled up here. Go ahead and play.
Nice. Yeah, if you want to.
Well, do you want me to play the original tweet, or do you want me to play the video that's on the official like Alabama Tennessee recap on ESPN?
Oh man, do that one for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one, because I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that yet.
Who is that?
I don't know, but he's living high. So that's your video. They've credited you with it. Of course, you weren't involved in that. You were just there documenting.
I feel like that video is going to live immortally now, and I can be just this one tiny piece in this great moment in history.
So you've had ESPN, Sports Illustrated, CNN. Like who else is like
NBC,
this video?
FanDuel. Man, it was kind of making me nervous. But it was all, if people just understood that, like, those fraternities probably fished those goalposts out immediately and toted them all around the fort all weekend long,
So I actually heard that the set that got thrown into the river actually made it back to Neyland Stadium later that evening.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
So all the environmentalists can calm down.
Yeah, I see you've got a hater on your post. It's the same person, like copy and pasted on.
Ginger is like seriously upset.
Yeah.
Ginger, I wish I could make you feel better, but it's fine. There's
Illegal
bigger battles
dumping.
out there to fight, Ginger.
It got out of the river. It's back in Neyland.
Yes. Who cares about the environment? I'm sure that the heavily polluted Tennessee River is going to be okay. And that,
pour one out for all of the millions of like unidentified bacteria and viruses that exist in the Tennessee River. I'm sure the goalpost is like hugely upsetting.
I'm sure those fraternity brothers left way more waste than the goalpost.
I mean, I think it'd just be rad if the goalpost stayed in the river and we had like a bass spawning
as a
pool
monument
right underneath it. We had the goalpost.
We could fish a little bit on the weekend.
Yeah,
this famous
like,
historical
I'm gonna catch one
moment
underneath the poles tonight, boys.
I'm glad they got it out. They can put it next to the statue of Hypo that we're going to be building.
Oh yeah, it's
yes.
inevitable. I don't know if y'all saw, but I don't know if it was sometime that night or if it was sometime yesterday, but one of the Tennessee, might have been the football account, tweeted out a fundraising link to raise money to buy new goalposts. And a lot of people did not get the joke. If you opened the link and looked at the bottom, it was from the Office of Annual Giving, basically like alumni affairs. They're the ones who keep track of the annual donor list, and so they once you graduate, they're the ones calling you asking if you want to donate $10 a year and what program you want it to go to. There are a lot of really big accounts. I'm talking thousands and thousands and thousands of followers who did not get that this was not about raising money for goalposts. It was about expanding the donor list. So really quickly, I want to say, if anybody's listening out there and you saw this tweet and you said, wow, I can't believe Tennessee football is so poor, they have to crowdfund new goalposts. You're a moron.
We did not.
You're an imbecile. Realized that this was not serious. It was a joke. It was a marketing campaign that was capitalizing on the moment. UT has plenty of money. They can afford goalposts.
I'd like to add one thing.
Or you could send your $52.49 to the SEC recap podcast.
Yeah, if you just looked at the amounts that they were asking for, it's like, do you not get that this is a joke?
Yeah. I mean, it's like cutting down nets, except in a bigger way. I think it's almost like get this old equipment out of here because we're ushering in a new era. This stuff's not good enough for a team of this level. And, I know that sounds a little egotistical or whatever, but that's the energy that is pushing it. You know what I mean? And it's only going to happen a few times. One thing that is concerning, looking at the fines, we got fined for a basketball court rush. I think that was like 2006 or something, a long time ago, 2008 era. That was $50,000. I didn't know that we hadn't rushed the field since then. That was, $100,000. And so the next one's $250,000. And it just feels like we probably shouldn't use them all up. We should probably think about it moving forward. I don't know. When's the next time we rush the field, guys?
Georgia.
Rush their field. Rush their field. Yeah.
National championship.
Established dominance.
Not on our field.
Get Georgia fined. Rushing
Rush
their
the field, pee on their leg, establish dominance.
Yeah, nobody get any pee on the leg penalties, please.
When it comes down to it, on a slightly more serious note, I don't think we rushed the field and tore down the goalposts because we beat Bama. To me, it was so much bigger than that. To me, it was 15 or 16 years of being drugged through the mud, being jerked around by, the higher powers at UT who are hiring bad coaches who are feeding us all kinds of bullshit. The Butch Jones, it takes 7 years to build a program, making promises they can't keep, doing things the wrong way. 15 years of being told that we'll never be relevant again, that Tennessee will never be back, having to hear the feels like 98 jokes on national media. To me, it was all of that culminating in that one moment, 18 months after Josh Heupel takes this job, when national media personalities are saying, well, we won't make a bowl game for 3 or 4 years. We had, 30-something scholarship players or players in general leave the program. To me, that's why those goalposts came down. It was this culmination of all this energy and this frustration. And it's like saying, see, I told you we'd be back. We told you we'd be back. And you didn't believe us. And now we're here to show you. What do y'all think?
I agree. The last time we beat Bama and Florida, that was what I think, was more about the whole thing. We beat Florida and Bama at home to go 6-0, to go to the top 3 in the nation. That has not happened in a very long time.
Go ahead, Gordon. What were you saying?
Yeah, when we beat Florida, it was kind of a feeling of righteous retribution. It was a feeling that we were a better team and that we were going to finally break that curse on Florida. And then all of a sudden it was like Bama was obtainable. And a lot of people kind of, they said it tongue in cheek that, we could beat Bama, or that, we could maybe upset Bama. But I don't feel like a lot of people really believed it until about midway through that first half. And then it really, really kicked in. It just felt so good all the way through.
Yeah, 100%. The last time we beat Florida and Bama, by the way, was 2004.
Yeah.
Freshman year.
Yep.
Decent football team.
Been a long time.
And beating Florida this year, okay, but then you beat Bama. and you're like, whoa. See, the thing about Georgia is we've always thought we could beat Georgia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so going into
Georgia.
this game, we
Mm-hmm.
definitely think we can beat Georgia, which is very important, I think, psychologically going into that game. I mean, assuming that we do what we need to do for the next 2 weeks to go into that game correctly.
As long as we
Totally.
don't mess up Kentucky, yeah, we'll go in.
Yeah, we
You
do
know,
have to take Kentucky seriously, but I'm not at the same time. I'm not worried about
Our
Kentucky.
offense, their defense.
listen,
Yeah,
I'm far more terrified about Kentucky than I am Georgia. And
really.
because
Really?
there's an expectation behind Kentucky.
We
That's
don't
true.
lose
See what
to
I mean?
Kentucky.
We lose that
Historically,
game.
Yeah, he ain't wrong.
That's bad.
That's
It's really
true.
bad.
It's
And
just that
we
ball
lose against
PTSD.
Georgia this year. It's not going to be the end of the world. We're still going to have the best season that we had in a long dang time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Like 2001,
you know,
right?
that's so I'm just going to let the past 2 decades of trauma build up here, but scared for Kentucky.
Okay. No, I think that's fair.
That's
I mean,
fair.
you do have to take Kentucky seriously, but from what I've seen, they just can't score enough points. Like,
Yeah.
if Bama couldn't outscore us, Kentucky cannot outscore us.
Kentucky's
And that
going to
offensive
Kentucky.
line, yeah, Kentucky's going Kentucky. They're going Kentucky hard at Neyland Stadium, bro. That offensive line cannot keep their quarterback on his feet. Like, we are going to make Will Levis or whoever's playing quarterback there eat dirt for 60 minutes.
I think Will Levis might be injured, but yeah, I feel a lot better with him not in the game.
I was impressed. I
For
mean,
sure.
we
It's
talked
that
about
last
them
20
playing
years of
Mississippi
ball
State.
PTSD. It's that last 20 years of like the worst possible joke happening to us, and like that would be the worst possible joke happening to us this year. Is like our
Yeah.
loss was to Kentucky.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys
But
are
I don't
saying
think we
Kentucky is
will.
going to Kentucky, but Tennessee has historically Tennessee'd.
You're
Hell,
right.
Brady Hoke even beat Kentucky. I'm not worried about Kentucky.
You're right. But the one thing I would say, like going back to this Florida win, the last 3 or 5 minutes of that game were a little disconcerting. You're like, oh my God, here we go again. But they won. And since that Florida win, dude, this team has only looked better and played better. I mean, that
Defenses
Florida
look better,
win
too.
Yeah,
rolled
absolutely.
into that LSU win, and that LSU win rolled into this Bama win.
Yeah.
Like, I just love the momentum that our team is riding with right now. And come on, carry it into Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky can bring shit to be.
And our schedule's
I
built
was-
for it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
We're
I
getting
was
this nice
pleasantly
break
surprised
next
to see-
week.
I mean, UT Martin, the Skyhawks, man. Don't
Don't
Hey,
sleep
that's my
on
alma
them.
mater.
Don't,
Okay.
don't sleep on the Skyhawks. But no, I was
Dude, you
pleasantly
sleep on them, they'll
surprised.
cover that 40-point spread, bro.
Is it 40?
I don't know.
Gonna mess
probably.
around and get
Let's look it
13
up.
on them.
No, I was pleasantly surprised with that LSU game. I didn't expect. I expected to win, but I thought it'd be a whole. I didn't think it'd be a blowout. This
No, me
team
either,
is
man.
like, I'm worried that this team is this like the LSU with Joe Burrow and that amazing year they had and won the national championship. Is this Tennessee's year to do it? And like, we're not going to be any good after Hooker leaves. Like, I'm worried. Like, is Tennessee back, or is this the Hooker factor?
So I
I mean,
think
Joe,
I've heard
Joe Milton's
I've,
up next year.
I've heard a lot of comparisons to that 2019 LSU year, but I like there's a lot about it that's different too. Like, Joe Burrow was kind of this singular talent that carried that team. They had just enough defense to sort of get the job done.
A few receivers.
And when it came down to it, like, Joe Burrow had to win some shootouts. Tennessee's kind of in that boat now, but there's a lot more pieces structurally to what's happening at Tennessee right now than that
And we have a
2019
coach.
LSU. We have a
And our
coach
coach is
who's
gonna
building
stay,
a
yeah.
program.
Mhm.
Like 2020, 2021, dude, they were ready to kick Orgeron out of there. And I just don't
Everyone
see that
knows
happening.
Coach O. Everyone knows that Coach O was on his way out, even after winning
Yeah.
a national championship. Heupels, and I hope he stays. I give him whatever he needs.
Guys,
Well,
let
I've
me
been
jump in here.
credited-
Well, you know, I'm a
Yeah.
big Joe Milton III fan. I love giving him opportunities. I loved them putting him in on that halftime bomb.
Joe Milton Jr. the third.
That's beautiful.
Hail Mary
Dude,
specialist.
I mean, to have your backup quarterback come in and take such an important throw, you know, like,
and almost got it.
and almost got it.
Almost.
It
Yeah.
bounced off his hands.
I was so proud of our team and our offensive coordinator for going with that, because I think that we should be trying to use him as much as possible.
Oh, dude, I'll tell you what. That locker
many
room
years does he have
loves Joe
left?
Milton. Oh, he has like a year
Yeah,
or
I
two.
think he's going to be
Does
our
he?
starting
Okay.
quarterback next year, honestly.
Oh, I
Unless-
mean,
yeah.
I mean, after Hooker leaves, yeah. I mean, there's no choice. I mean, yeah, of
Unless
course
he
he's
wants to
going-
go on to the league, because I think he could.
But no. Listen to me. That the locker room, the Tennessee locker room, loves Joe Milton, and our coaching staff loves Joe Milton. Like they have a ton of confidence in him. He's looked good when he's played this year. Like, yes, I mean he's not going to be Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is kind of a special player for the system right now, but I feel pretty good about having Joe Milton next year.
I do
Just
too.
to be honest.
I do too.
I'm glad that he went ahead and threw an interception this game, kind of get that off his back, because that's a lot of pressure. I mean, he scored 5 touchdowns. I mean,
He threw 2 interceptions this game.
Oh, he did?
It's just
Yeah.
that one of them only
threw 1.5.
only one of them counted, but he technically threw 2 and kind of messed up a little mesh point handoff there when he
Yeah.
was supposed to pull the ball, I guess. And there
But
was
he
just a
went into that game with
miscommunication.
10 touchdowns and came out with 50% more. I mean,
yeah.
against Bama.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about
Yeah.
that. He had 5 games before this. He scored 10 touchdowns, and then he had 1 game against Bama. He scored 5. I mean, dude's a
Insane.
machine.
Can I just pull up like a cool stat that
Go
we
for
haven't chatted about yet?
Yeah, do it.
There, Hyatt had 6 receptions on the game.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
had 5 touchdowns.
205
His
yards or
yards-
something like that.
His yards per reception were like 34 and a half. How is he our second receiver?
They just couldn't cover him, man. Like their safety they couldn't do anything for him. And that's what, let me go back to talking about like the problem with Alabama's defense. The problem with Alabama's defense was not Alabama's defense. It was our offense. It was Jalen Hyatt. They just couldn't cover him. We were just better than them. And Alabama fans, I know that is hard for you to comprehend since the entire college football universe has revolved around you for the last 15 years. But other schools have better players and better schemes than you. And you saw that on Saturday. We were just better.
Jalen
You
Hyatt
got
is
beat.
huge.
I mean, nothing against Saban, but and he does adapt. But I mean, Saban's old. He's still in the mind scheme that you got to run the ball. They're better players now. Heupel is getting the best out of his receivers and the quarterback.
Mhm.
Saban's fantastic. 2 years ago, if you asked me if I would rather have Saban than Heupel, give me Saban.
No doubt.
I'll take Heupel.
No doubt.
Everyone would say that.
Yeah. You'd be
And right
crazy
now-
not to.
You'd be crazy not to. I'm going to take Heupel. I'm on the hype train. Heupel is going to. I love what he's doing. I remember he came into the league with Missouri as the offensive coordinator, and then he went to head coach in Florida. Central
UCF.
Florida.
Yep.
And then, man, I was so skeptical. I was like, "Who is this guy?" Heupel. He is changing how the SEC is played. He's the West Coast offense. Spread them out, throw it long.
Well, but
you
they're
don't
still
score.
running the ball though. Like, and
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you have to have a good offensive line to do
In
that.
the
So it's
SEC,
still
you have to.
yeah.
Jabari Small.
It's amazing to watch, man. It really is. Like I'm so impressed with what the offense is doing. I know defensively we're thin. We don't have like the talent depth right now, and you're kind of seeing that. That may be really what keeps us out of that playoff championship conversation. But dude, they're proving that this offense can score on anybody. And guess what? They made Alabama do that. Like our offense made Alabama play differently. And just think about what that means. Think about the implications of that. Like it happened to Brian Kelly. It happened. They did it to Nick Saban. By God, in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're going to go down and we're going to do it in Georgia to Kirby Smart. Like we're going to make them have to play differently because they know that we're going to score points.
It'll be interesting to see how Kirby Smart's defense handles this offense. I mean,
I
Alabama
imagine
was
better.
playing like they still had Lane Kiffin as their OC. They had to step it up and do some trick plays, and they had to throw it down. They had to spread the field. They were playing like Lane Kiffin's offense,
I
and
think
it
Lane
was
Kiffin
interesting to
gets
see.
it. He's playing like us in a lot of ways. If you watch Ole Miss right now, they're playing a hurry up offense. They're trying to
They run the ball.
They're trying to
spreading.
get as many plays in as possible and just ram it down their field, ram it down.
Can you imagine the
throat?
Next year's recruiting class, man? Like with Tennessee's year this year, like Tennessee,
Oh.
it's gonna be outstanding.
2 years, man. Give it to like the class we're bringing in next year is good. Wait until the 2024 class and the 2025 class. Like it's going to be disgusting from top to bottom because first of all, who doesn't want to come play in this offense? Second of all, have you seen how aggressive our defense is? Like what pass rusher defensive end doesn't want to come just feast on sacks in this style of defense? Like
They're gonna get plenty of time to play. Yeah,
bring them all. Bring it all on.
it's gonna be sick. You're right.
Hope Tennessee doesn't Tennessee.
Don't say it. Don't jinx it.
True. I need you to be more positive.
Don't jinx it. You'll never be invited back.
It's not negative or positive. It's
No, for sure. All right, guys. Last item on the agenda before we move away from this. The sad picture of Derek Dooley eating spaghetti in the tunnel of Neyland Stadium. I know you've all seen it because I sent it to you.
I mean, like Dooley seems like a guy, and I honestly thought he was still in the NFL. I know he was with the Cowboys for a while as like a receivers coach.
He's in the Saban rehabilitation program.
Is he?
Yeah, they all are.
You know,
all those NFL coaches got to come down and do the
send him to
time.
Arkansas State and get him out. At first, I felt bad because he seems like a nice guy, but then I was like, you know what? Screw it. Like he deserves it.
Dude, nice guy,
Here's the real
sure.
question about that.
Yeah,
Great shower
nice
habits.
guy. Nice guy,
The real
absolutely.
question about that is, do y'all think that was his crotch rocket picture?
What was that?
The real question is, do y'all think that was Derek Dooley's crotch rocket next to him in that picture?
Absolutely not.
Oh yeah,
no way.
No, he strikes me as like a Prius type of guy.
Or like a Ford Taurus. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I felt he's a nice guy. I saw him walking around campus. Like he's a nice guy, but you know what? He was terrible for the program. Good for him for being with Saban. Hopefully he lands on his feet again whenever he decides to get a head coaching job somewhere else. But
I wonder how that feels, man. Like knowing that you coached this program, and I use that term very loosely, for 3 years. I mean, come on, your first press conference was about shower technique.
Shower techniques.
We teach him how to put soap on the rag. Listen, I would just wonder how that feels like with all those fans in orange storming the field, chanting, "It's great to be a Tennessee Vol," and you're like, I need to smash the spaghetti and meatballs real quick before we get back on this bus.
Dooley, he is not his dad. As much as he wants to be, as much as he tried to be, like he'll never be his dad.
Well, his Wikipedia article, because I was trying to figure out what he's been doing. I knew that he went to the NFL, but it is the saddest thing. So I was like, all right, so he went from the NFL and he's at Alabama now, and I just see New York Giants is the last thing, and the last sentence says he was not retained after the 2021 season. Full stop. Yeah. That's just it. I'm like, what is the saddest thing ever?
And then look at the Giants now. What are they, like 5-1? So
yeah, they actually do.
It's crazy.
They're really good.
So
man,
it's just. I feel bad, especially now knowing that and seeing that picture. It just really hammers it home. He used to be the head coach of the University of Tennessee Volunteers.
Man, he was fear the pants, man.
Yeah, he was a panic hire. Kiffin left. They were like, "Oh God, what do we do?"
All of this feels like a trope. Is this what is that Eddie Murphy movie where they take him out of he's a stock exchange guy from being a homeless dude. It feels like that, but in the complete opposite feeling for Derek Dooley.
They make him the homeless guy.
Yeah. That's what happens to Dan Aykroyd in the film.
Dooley has good family ties. I mean, like I said earlier, like Dooley's dad was a great coach at Georgia. I mean, you would think that would do something. Incredible hygiene, right, Gordon?
Yeah. All right, guys. Last order of business here. We got to plan a Natty party, because we all know it's happening. Tennessee
Yeah.
Vols to the Natty to the college football playoffs. What are we doing, Gordon? You're the CEO of the party planning committee for the SEC Recap podcast. What does the Natty party look like?
Oh, that's under wraps. That's definitely under wraps still.
We can't talk about it on the pod.
No, not well. We can, but we can't talk about it on the pod today.
Okay. All right. Well, let's imagine then a hypothetical Natty party. What hypothetically are we doing?
Vegas, baby.
Well, we're watching the game. Theoretically, watching the game. There's lots of food. Possible libation.
Okay.
Live entertainment. Okay.
That's all
We're hitting the bare
elaborating
minimum now.
Right now.
Great. So you've described a basic game day. All right. So, no,
Yeah, that was
Gordon.
Saturday.
Yeah. Come on, Gordon.
So Gordon,
CEO.
tell it what are our drinks gonna be like as our Cicerone, our sommelier? Like what's gonna get us through kickoff to the clock ticks 0 and Tennessee's lifting that trophy?
Well, in the moment right now, I'm drinking an orange margarita, and this would be a poor choice for a football game, considering it lasts a couple of drinks. I would probably be looking at a nice pale ale or just a sessionable pilsner. Anything you can drink 30 plus of would be a good starting point.
Is Hub City going to be brewing anything special for the Tennessee's Natty party?
Oh,
that's happening. Yes.
Yeah.
I've got one in my back pocket that I pull out at least once a year. Big Orange Pale Ale may come out. Well, it will definitely come out. If we go to the Natty, it will definitely come out, and there will be a couple of kegs reserved for the band.
Hub City Brewery, Jackson, Tennessee. You heard it there. Special Tennessee Orange Natty Brew. Don't miss it. Andrew Turner.
Man, we're going to Vegas and we're bringing moonshine. We're bringing Jack Daniels. We're drinking.
We're flying in moonshine to Vegas.
No, we're going to get moonshine, I guess, while we're there. But
degenerate there.
Maybe we take a little bit with us. I don't know. Any reason to go to Vegas sounds fun to me.
Just for the plane, right?
But no, man, we all got to get together. We got to rent a house somewhere on the lake. We got to have a bunch of beer, a bunch of moonshine, and we got to play Rocky Top pretty much all weekend.
Truett, what are we doing? Natty party. Where are we going?
I like Turner's idea. Cabin, lake. I've got a tiny ass little John boat. Go fishing. Watch.
You're gonna go
football, drink
the
beers.
Watch it on the John boat. On our phones.
Yeah, the Natty. Yes.
The Natty, baby. All right, Squirrel, what we doing? Natty party.
I don't know, man. I hate to be lame. I was thinking Calhoun's on the river, but it's been forever since I've been there.
That's not lame at all.
That's where I spent my 21st birthday, and I think that was a game day. And that was a great time.
Played
Great
Marshall.
food, Tennessee Staple, Vol Navy.
It poured rain while Matt Hayes served food to us.
Jumping around with umbrellas. My dad had to sleep in the van before they could go home. Yeah, man. I think what better place to do it
on
than
home, homecoming.
in Knoxville itself, even though the
Great.
team might not be there, but this team
Solid
can be
choice.
there in Knoxville for them.
David, Natty party. What are we doing?
Man, all I really care about is us getting together. And if we're watching that, I don't really care where. I like the idea of Knoxville. Turner will take over your house.
Yes.
But all I really care about is us getting together. I don't really care wherever you guys say, I'll be there. But I think we should already start buying our tickets for the SEC Championship in Atlanta. And because we know who's going to be there.
Yeah, boys, listen, I don't care where we are. Gordon, bring the beers. Somebody bring a couch. I'll bring the gasoline and the matches. We're lighting that baby on fire no matter where we are. That's all I care about.
Win or lose. Yeah, I just want to be with
Win
the
or
boys.
lose, we're setting a couch on fire. Always wanted to do it.
I saw it done. Yeah, I want to do it too.
And we'll just we'll go to a high school stadium, rip down some goalposts. Somebody with a truck. We'll just find somebody with a truck. Some chains.
I'll just bring an Allen wrench, man. Like, yeah, we'll get it down.
Yeah, here they're expensive. Let's rip somebody else's goalpost.
Tickets
down.
are also
Yes,
$450
yeah.
right now on.
And we'll make sure to turn it up
for the SEC championship game.
Woo.
Better get them now.
That's a deal, man, for watching Tennessee win it again. When's the last
Better
time we
get 'em
won?
now.
It was what, 07? There was
Nah, me and Ben
I
were
know we
there.
lost
in
to Georgia in the tiebreaker
nosebleeds.
then,
We
right?
literally had our back to the dome because we were in the very last row, and I'll never forget.
Yep.
It was tied up, or like it was so close, but at the very end, we threw an interception, and before it even left the quarterback's hands, Ben turned to me and goes, "That's a pick six," and then LSU just walked it right into the end zone on like the 2 or 3 yard line. And it was an epic game to be at, but we did not win. I think
But
that was
last
2008,
year, right?
man,
That we were in the
2007.
SEC championship. Was 7, 8,
Yeah, it wouldn't have been 8. It would have had to have been 7. I think.
7.
Yeah, 7 was LSU.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I think we should go ahead and start making plans for Atlanta.
Oh, I'm down. I've already made plans. It's 4 hours
2.5.
for me. I'm driving. I'll meet y'all
Let's
there.
go.
Yeah, it's 4 hours for me too. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. All right, boys. Anything else
Somebody
before
leave the
we
urban camp
conclude this Four
Go
Horsemen
Vols,
edition?
baby.
I mean, we could go Vols. We could always use Gordon's boat. Sell it down to Atlanta.
Oh, that's a phenomenal idea. Just take
Sail to Atlanta.
sail to Atlanta.
It only
it'd be
took us $5,000 in gas.
Yeah, I'm good for it. Just put it on the tab.
No expense spared for the Tennessee
Just write a check.
Volunteers.
It's fine.
Yeah, I'll write you a check. Just don't cash it for a while.
All right, guys.
Go Vols.
Go Vols. I think
Vols.
this was one of the best podcasts I think we've ever done. Just to sit around and shoot the shoot all about Tennessee, make it all about us for a change. Take some of the spotlight away from the Georgias and the Alabamas and the Ohio States of the world. Show everybody that Tennessee belongs in that conversation. It's awesome to see. It feels good to be back, even though I'm not on Rocky Top anymore and I'm now behind enemy lines in enemy territory. It feels really good to still be wearing my orange on game days and cheering on the Volunteers. So cheers to you guys. Thanks for being here with me on the SEC Recap Podcast.
College game day, third time for Tennessee. Let's go.
That's going to do it for our All Vols episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to the SEC Recap Podcast. Give us a follow on Twitter at SEC Recap and check out our website, secrecap.com. Like, share, subscribe, get notified for new episodes each and every week. Have a great week, folks. And as always, it's great to be in the SEC right here on the SEC Recap.